Your former life was in a bliss of ignorance, until you've awakened to the darkness waiting on the doorstep of our fragile dimension. Something terrible left its eons-old slumber, and the reality, as we knew it, collapsed. The city of Arkham was pulled to somewhere not of this world, and its residents are in the shadows of true terror. As a survivor of this catastrophe, you should investigate the strange occurrences in the city and survive the rising darkness, physically and mentally, if possible.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome to Stygian, Reign of the Old Ones, one of the first games I actually talked about on the channel. It's been 2 years in the making, and while it didn't turn out quite how I was expecting, it is still a very intriguing and unconventional CRPG. Now, I've been waiting for this game for quite some time, so we're not going to beat around the bush here. We'll make our character and jump right in. Stygian awaits. Now, normally, I'd be agonizing over what character build to run with, but in this case, I took the easy way out and I just let my patrons decide for me. It is worth mentioning, though, that every archetype does seem to be viable, and some of them even come with unique benefits, such as the Aristocrat's Servant or the Explorer's Faithful Hound. In this case, though, we'll be returning to the Occult Detective, similar to the character we used back in the original demo. Of course, I don't want to repeat too much content, so we will make a few key changes. Welcome to the Apocalypse, Detective Trench. We do need to be careful here. In Stygian, your attributes are pretty much set in stone from the moment you create your character. There are a few ways to temporarily increase them, but you're far more likely to see them drop over time. As for skills, every skill is potentially useful, but you're not going to have enough skill points for even half of them. Your best bet is to focus on just 3 or 4, 5 at a stretch. The important thing, though, is to pick one skill you want to be great at, and accept the fact that you're going to be mediocre at everything else. In this case, John Trench is a capable detective, but one who's developed an unhealthy fixation on the occult. We'll want his attributes to reflect that. Yeah, that seems about right. The flesh is weak, but the mind is still strong. If we were building a purecaster here, we'd want to go with a higher will, but that seems about right for a dabbler in the dark arts. As for skills, well, again, there's a lot I'd like to do here, but we just don't have enough points for everything. So, I think we'll go ahead and skip the firearm skill, at least for now. Instead, we'll split his points up over investigation, the occult, and then we'll put a couple of points into psychology and speechcraft as well. I would like to put points into firearms or subterfuge, but we just can't afford it. We might do it at a future level, but we're already stretched pretty thin. Alright, for better or worse, I think we're done. Not the best character, but he'll have to do. A year has passed since your encounter with that peculiar fellow known as the Dismal Man. When last you met, he instructed you, "Find me beyond Arkham after the Black Day." At the time, these words did not mean much to you, but soon after, you would come to understand. On what is now known as the Black Day, under the shadow of the Awakened, the world you knew vanished, and with it your hopes, future, and loved ones. For reasons unknown, the city of Arkham was separated from the carcass of Earth and exiled to another place under alien stars, a twilight realm between dimensions. Unlike many others, you survived, body and mind mostly intact. Ever since, you have existed from day to day in the gray gloom of the old eel house, waiting for that enigmatic man to call. A man whose very existence you are now beginning to question, until you wake into another layer of the nightmare, until the visit at the old attic. The footsteps of the Dismal Man. 2 lamps in darkness. Alright, I think that's pretty straightforward. Ah, right. I am a little disappointed they didn't work in the unique intros for each archetype. Instead, they dump you right into this dream sequence. Huh. Well, that's probably fine. Now it is less fine. Well, just another day in New Arkham. At the gates of Miskatonic. And here we have a quick primer on the controls. I can't say I'm crazy about the lack of WASD, but it is functional. Awkward, but functional. Anyway, let's go get dressed and greet the day. There's our revolver that we barely know how to use. I'm sure that'll end well. Our standard issue detective's coat and hat. And an assortment of basic survival gear, though not nearly enough. Oh, and there's our detective's license. I'm sure we'll get plenty of use out of that. A year ago, I met a mysterious gentleman. I can recall little about him but his name, the Dismal Man. He knew about the Black Day, and also the fact that I'd be in Arkham. He told me to find him. Who is he? Does he have answers? The last spot I saw the Dismal Man in my dream was by the gates of Miskatonic University. Perhaps I should take a closer look. Well, that's as good a plan as any. Ah, the old eel. It's like coming home again. To a crappy, run-down home. He's too busy playing. If you'll excuse me. You see Marino, the manager and bartender of the Old Eel. He's been your host for almost a year now, charging in exchange for the last of your precious resources. He has a tendency to suck you dry whenever he gets the opportunity. Good morning, Cornudo. If you can call this never-ending fucking twilight morning. What was all that hurly-burly upstairs? Bad dreams? Can you separate dream from reality anymore? Oh, I see. Cornudo is quite a philosopher. I find my own view simpler and more effective. Whether this is dream or reality or fucking inferno, the question is, can you die? If you can kick the bucket, which is definitely still the case, my friend, I guess this is real enough. But if you want to give it a shot, I can spare you a pistol. Since you're awake, let's talk about the cigs you owe me. You were too drunk to pay yesterday, and told me to remind you later, remember? I didn't drink yesterday, Marino. But I'm sure you did. Don't you trust your giving host, Cornudo? Where would you be now if I hadn't accommodated you? You'll have all my cigs soon. Why the hurry? He pauses and smiles. I can't argue with that. Consider this one on the house. You are really a good example of how low a person can go. Oh, please, spare me your sharp wit. Later, Cornudo. We do have more to talk about, but I'll save that for another time. I do want to keep the pacing up in these videos. It's also important to note that the full version of Stygian has several hidden timers working behind the scenes. The longer we stand around, the hungrier and more tired Detective Trench will get. So I can't really afford to look at a lot of this background scenery. Though, thankfully, it does pause while we're talking to people. You see an eccentric, middle-aged man, completely focused on the darts game that he alone is playing. Exaltation all but radiates from this odd fellow. Care for a game of cricket? You don't get a chance to play against the world champion every day. He passes several of his darts to you. Who are you? Didn't I just tell you? I'm the darts champion of the world. I'm also called Herschel. Ah, I feel the signs again. A new challenger approaches. Another fool to vanquish. Is it you? World champion? Of course. Surprised? You have any clue what happened to the rest of the world? Knock knock, anybody there? No one? Good riddance. He throws a dart. Earth was a big pain in the butt anyway. Here there is only one champion. Herschel, the master of darts. He throws another dart at the board. This makes me the World Darts Champion. Ready for the game now. Is there a prize? Prize? Nothing can come close to the thrill of the darts. Tobacco? Rubbish. But feeling the texture of the stem in your hand, the steel point savagely penetrating the board, it's priceless. And the prize? You want cigarettes? Beat me then. Beat the world champion and you'll have more cigarettes than you'll ever want. You see, I was a traveling salesman for Tom Rogers cigarettes. Before I found my true self and became the champion. Damn those days. Herschel, go to Maine. Go to Boston, Herschel. Herschel, your sales performance is getting lower. We're disappointed, Herschel. I see. Where are they now? Ha! Dissatisfied bastards. The old Herschel is gone with them. There is only the champion now. The champion! It seems you've somehow transferred the frustrations of your past onto the game of darts. What? I discovered my true purpose in darts. The grand game that the leprechauns taught us back in the old world. You talk nonsense. You feel that you've been meddling with his mental balance. Forget about it. He continues with his game as if the recent conversation did not happen. Ready for a game of cricket? Sure, let's play. Now you're talking. He starts to tell you the rules of the game with rather too much enthusiasm. Alright, let's see how good he actually is. And the last round. What? Herschel looks as if he's stripped from all purpose. Glancing at his expressionless eyes, you feel like you're gazing right into the abyss. He starts to talk slowly. Cheater. I didn't cheat. Cheater! Oh, come on. Cheater! 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 With each repetition, his speech starts to sound less and less rational until it turns into a frenzied howl. Cheater! Well, that happened. But at least we're the world champion. Yay. $46, and all we had to do was break a man. Fair trade, I guess. Alright, let's see if we can get our bearings here. You see a typical Arkham resident, tired and decrepit looking. He looks at you uneasily. Good day, sir. My name is John Trench. Good day. Where have you been living? Does it look like a good day to you? Oh no, you're one of those. He goes white with fear. Those raving lunatics. He starts to move away in a panic. Excuse me? Well, let's try that again. You see a typical Arkham resident, tired and decrepit looking. He looks at you uneasily. Here's a cig. He is confused by your gesture, but quickly snags the cig nonetheless. Thank you, sir. You are kind, not like those bullies. He glances timidly at the bouncers by the bar's front door. What can you tell me about that bar? The Old Eel was a shady place even before the Black Day. We've been hearing that the owner Marino has some connections with the Mafia in the West. The bar took the disguise of a restaurant when the Prohibition came. As you can guess, there's no need for that anymore. You can rent a bed, or let's say a dirty mattress in the attic, if you don't have a place to go, and get some moonshine from the bar below. What is it now? What stayed intact in this part of town? Not much, as you can see. There's the Old Eel House if you're looking for a few drinks and a roof over your head. And if you're planning to numb yourself, Richter's Drugstore is the place. You'll be fine if you stay away from the Marsh Warehouse, and I'm sure you know better than to hang around near the Grandfather Altar. Tell me about Richter's Drugstore. That slimy bastard. Old Richter runs the only remaining pharmacy in Arkham. But don't be fooled, his business is not medicine. He deals drugs. Richter produces, mixes, and of course sells all kinds of drugs to anyone who's interested in a small escapade from this nightmare. He is valuable to the mob and he knows it. There's been some ugly rumors about him for some time now. What kind of rumors? Rumors of him taking advantage of his regular customers and sort. Dreadful stuff. Tell me about this warehouse you mentioned. I know it used to be run by the Marsh family of Innsmouth. We've been hearing that the place was being used for bootlegging and sorts. Only ghouls occupy it now. Beasts that rend flesh from your bones. What do you know about the Marshes? Not much. I know that they are the ruling family of Innsmouth. Their great-grandfather, Obed Marsh, was an important figure in the town's past, I reckon. Reclusive, weird folk, these Innsmouthians. What are these ghouls you mentioned? Never seen one with my own eyes, but I've seen what they can do to people. They say they are dog-like demons, feral parodies of men. They creep out of dark to prey upon us. You can hear their eerie howls throughout Arkham. I see. I think that's all I need. Thank you for your time. Well, that was informative. Let's have a look around. There's Richter's Drugstore. And the Marsh's Warehouse. And I'm assuming that's the Grandfather Altar. This towering depiction of one of the elder gods perches atop the naked base of a shattered statue. What is that grotesque monument over there? The cult erected it in place of the old Lincoln statue. Grandfather Altar, they called it. Damned atrocity. Cultists come from across the river to sacrifice people who've been marked by the mob. Blood offerings to Grandfather Cthulhu. Cthulhu? Even the name freezes my blood. The Grandfather, they call him. Their new god who awakened on the Black Day with its brethren, the Great Old Ones. The fanatics of the cult torture, sacrifice, and kill in their names. The cult must be feeding off the energies of those ancient beings, attracted to them like flies. She looks at you uneasily. You seem to know a lot about it. I'd better go. It gives me the creeps. Well, I have terrified 2 of the 3 people I've talked to. Also, I drove a man mad. Off to a good start here. Oh, hey, we can actually go inside the warehouse. Though we'll hold off on that for now. It is worth noting that if you end up running low on SIGs, the containers here do refill once per day. It's what they call the Arkham junk economy. Alright, let's go check out the gates to Miskatonic. Excuse me, I'd like to ask you something. Leave me alone, sir. Life is hard enough without a bunch of foolish questions. All right. Fair enough. Tis happens again. The lurker below. Crack open the ground at will. That was a close one. Ominous. A key numbered 0. A plain brass key with the number 0 carved on it. Your heart grows cold when you hold the key in your hand and feel the chilling metal. I found a peculiar key at the entrance to the ruined university, marked with the number 0. Perhaps I could find someone to tell me what it unlocks. What can you tell me about this key? Do I look like a locksmith or something? I haven't got the slightest idea. Maybe nutty old Isidore could help you. He runs the antique store. He has a thing for keys, or so I've heard. Where is this antique store? It's called Schmidt's Antiques, and it's located in French Hill, near the clubhouse. It's an old wooden building, hard to miss. There are still all kinds of strange objects on display. Thank you. I'd better take my leave then. Although he looks like a living wreck with a lot of grease in his filthy hair, the man before you persistently advertises his merchandise, which looks more like trash to you, with an unfaltering energy. Welcome to Uncle Rathsack's shop of undiscovered treasures. Don't be shy, come closer. I have everything you need. You call this a shop? And among the best. Oh, you don't like my decorations? Take no notice of the packaging, friend. The goods it sells is what makes a shop. He stops for a moment to cough wetly. A shop! An Uncle Rathsack has everything you need. But this stuff is all junk. Look around you. The whole place is a junkyard, so why not sell junk? You want to see some of my hidden gems? I have items here you won't find no place else. Okay, let me see what you've got. Well, if we had crafting skills, this would actually be pretty useful. As it stands, though, there's not a lot here we can actually use. It is a good place to sell the junk we find, though. Since we can't craft, we are going to have to purchase the things we need. Oh, hey. Nice. The wretched creature before you can hardly be described as human. It is wearing odd, anachronistic clothes and has wrapped its face and hands in tattered rags. Its cringing, confused movements further verify the status of this unfortunate outcast. The humanoid creature is talking with itself in an uneasy, guttural tone. His voice is like a cold breeze, blowing from beyond the grave. Why have the cruel gods chosen me for their ghastly amusement? The moment he sees you, the wretched creature draws back in horror. As a disciple of the dark arts, you can sense the occult energies emanating from this being. I sense the power in you. No harm will come to you from me. You sense the creature observing you with its yellow, ghoulish eyes, barely visible behind the filthy rags. The outlandish being starts to talk in a rugged but strangely educated tone. Harm is the only thing your kind brought to me. To think I once foolishly believed us to be kin. Leave me alone. The creature scurries quickly away from you. I know always that I am an outsider. I could have sworn that guy had voice acting back in the demo. I wonder what happened. Oh, and that's our first campfire. One of the many places that Detective Trench can rest if he gets tired. Mob blew up the gates to keep it inside. Did they now? You see a scruffy man dressed in grimy garments. As you approach, you are irritated by the rancid, alcoholic stench of his sweat. The swollen syringe marks on his arms further demonstrate the extent of his addiction. As your shadow falls over the unkempt and emaciated rummy, he scarcely opens one eyelid, as if he has been anticipating a visitor. Quinn, is that you? It takes a moment to realize that you're not who he expected. Oh, shoot. Are you all right, pal? Baffled, he shrugs. Who's asking? The drill sergeant? Puh, sawed off. Sergeant? Interesting guess. Did you serve in the army? What are you, a copper? The last time I checked, the mob burned down the goddamn police station. He chugs his moonshine and spits. They won't tolerate a snoop around these parts, so up yours, mister. Pardon me for saying it, but you don't look very good. I don't need no help. I'm well aware of what Richter's dope does to a healthy person. Do I look like I give a damn? Mentioning the pharmacist's name seems to have given him an idea. Speaking of Richter, what about him? Maybe you could bring me a shot of his morphine, if you insist on bantering with this pathetic waste of a soldier. Soldier? Were you really a soldier? He casts his eyes down in shame. Unfortunately, I was. Private Parsons of the 181st National Guard Infantry Regiment. He shows his military identity tag. Surprised, huh? I certainly done look the part all right. So much for the patriot in me. Nice to meet you, Private. So, what happened? Did you receive a dishonorable discharge? Not really, but I certainly would if ever I set foot on that base ever again. Any news on that shot of morphine? Sorry, I don't have one with me. Gee, too bad then. But lucky for you, I'll be here for quite a while if you ever decide to bring me some of the good stuff. Guess we'll keep an eye out for morphine. Hopefully it's actually worth it. The iconic gates of this institution of higher learning lie in ruins. The way is impassable for now. Who could have suggested a year ago that Arkham's most prestigious lodgings would degrade into a festering hive of debauchery? That's another building we'll have to check out a little later. A well-built, dark-skinned man is approaching you. You doubt he's from these parts. He seems unaffected by Arkham's nightmarish condition, and there is something inviting, almost provocative, in his thin smile. Hola, senor. Please forgive my... He tries to find the right word. Interruption. But I've been seeing you at the Old Eel and wanted to presentarme. Are you following me? No, senor. But I cannot help to notice about you the scent of danger, of violencia. You have that scent on you. I've seen you talk to people, asking questions. While others wait for Santa Muerte, you have a mission. I don't know what it is, but you know the time will come and blood be spilled, no? Question is, will it be your blood, senor, or theirs? Eduardo Carnella will help you in answering this question of vida y muerte, life or death. So, you're offering to fight for me. Amor con amor se paga, y lo demás con dinero. Love can do much, money can do everything. If you pay me my cigs, senor, you'll have your own special angel protector. I'm sure I butchered that. Some of my enemies may not be human. Some enemies I fought back in Havana weren't human neither, although maybe they looked like it. Tell me the differencia. What do you want in return? 24 cigs for each day I protect you. I don't care if you're fighting monsters or the mob or El Diablo himself. You have no fear, huh? Why should I? I have survived by chance all my life, and now I do just the same. We all do. But you were not aware of this before la catastrophe. A swordfish killed me padre. One day he'd go out to work, he'd never come home. SOS, like that. You see, we live by chance alone, but it is when we are out of luck that it becomes plain. I will play the game, senor, until la diosa Fortuna betrays me. Well, we could use a gun for hire. Detective Trench isn't really built for combat. I accept your offer. Follow me. Bueno. Lead the way, senor. Eduardo Carnella, your angel protector, is by your side. Welcome aboard, Eduardo, for however long you last. It is important to note that Eduardo here is just a henchman, not a full-fledged companion. We'll have to pay him if we want him to stick around, and he lacks the utility of a full-fledged companion. It's also possible he may end up having his own agenda in the long run. Are you looking at me? Who, me? No, sir. No, I didn't. Wow. Another unlucky soul fallen to the tyranny of the mob. Poor guy. Well, let's have a look around the French Quarter real quick. Magnificent Horatio Flyer. A souvenir of brighter times, when the unostentatious show of an illusionist could still cheer up the now crestfallen denizens of Arkham. Having served its time on a daily run to Innsmouth, this wrecked bus now sits stranded in this timeless limbo. Well, if we had subterfuge, we could actually crack that thing open. Okay, we've got some colorful characters here. You see a man who has blackened his face and hands with paint. He's performing some kind of pantomime show. He is unaware of your presence. It's not hard to see that beneath this ridiculous posturing, something is deeply wrong. The man's weary visage shows he's been at this for a long while, and the exertion of staying in character is wearing him down. Hello? He reacts with comic surprise. His startled eyes show nothing but the shallow character he is portraying. Alright, let's get to the bottom of this. As you watch him continue his bizarre show at the expense of his dwindling physical health, patterns of severe self-punishment are revealed. A deep sense of guilt may have triggered this malady. Who are you? He shrugs theatrically and begins another of his vulgar sketches. You are no longer sure whether this is a performance or the sole mode of existence for this bizarre fellow. A revolting smell attacks your nostrils as you approach the homeless man, as if some small animal had died under his stained clothes. What is it, mister? Do I smell? Then stay a few damn yards away. Who is that man with paint all over his face? Oh, don't you know Coley Willie? I thought everybody knew Coley. You know he has movies, the theatrical performances. He was a real celebrity, you know. Not Coley Willie, but the fella himself, Sam Rodney. Never found him funny myself. In better days, a friend took me to one of his shows. Making all that money, scoffing at black folks. The black day came for all of us in the end, innit? White, yellow, black, everybody. He's still putting on a show? I don't know if I'd call it a show anymore, mister. I've been hanging around with him for a while now, and he never became Sam Rodney again. Not even once. I guess he is flat-out Coley Willie now. I think he's punishing himself to death by continuing the Coley Willie act. Really, mister? That's sad, because he's the only person who can stand me. Who is he performing for? Some mob fellas used to come and see him now and then. Not anymore. Watching the same thing over and over got boring, probably. And other folks don't like to go anywhere near him. Probably find him creepy. Can't blame them. They don't like to be near me either. So here we are, mister. Coley and the... He tries to think of something. Stinky, I need to go. That joke is getting really old. Okay. This beautiful mansion somehow remains unscathed and is obviously still occupied, though the relentless Valinrook have begun to assault it most aggressively. You see a determined but pallid woman in her 30s. Her outfit hints at a metropolitan sensibility. You sense an air of hypochondria about this mysterious woman. "Excuse me, sir. I'd like to ask you something if I may." "Please, madam. I'm listening." "I'm looking for my husband, a slender, long-faced gentleman from Boston. His name is Randolph Carter. All I know is that he arrived in Arkham. Do you know him or his whereabouts?" "I don't know if I've seen him, but the name doesn't ring a bell." "I see. Thank you, sir. I'd better continue my search." "Perhaps I could help you in your search." "I'm sorry, but I should be looking for him. Goodbye." Well, so much for that. Randolph the Dreamwalker. Interesting. That's probably normal. Tunnel kids look after one another. Leave. Creepy children. Who'd have thought? This charred and decrepit palace, which once hosted many events and receptions as the Gentlemen's Club of Arkham, has been rechristened the Blackened Club by the surviving locals and serves as Waxface's criminal fortress. Well, we can't go in, but we probably wouldn't want to anyway. Alright, let's go check out this key. An old man is sitting behind the dusty counter, surrounded by a variety of odd objects. He doesn't look pleased to see you. Yes, are you looking for something in particular? What is this place? This is Schmidt's Antiques, or what's left of it, and I am Isidore Schmidt. Like the merchandise, I have been gathering dust here for a good long while. Tell me how I may assist you, or perhaps how you can assist me. That's a very nice collection of keys you have. Thank you. I have put my life into this collection, though it is unfortunately incomplete. As he quickly reviews his rows of keys, you notice a deep longing in his eyes. Why the interest in keys? I have always been fascinated by keys. I started collecting them in my childhood. It was simply a hobby, of course, until the Black Day. What changed on the Black Day? It's not important. Just remember that I will pay handsomely for keys. I'd feel better knowing why you want them so badly. Very well. After the Black Day, like many others, I lost all hope. With no reason to go on, I decided to end it. You know what I mean. But what I desired most is forbidden to men. For days I fasted and prayed for Hesham's forgiveness, determined to end this misery of an existence. I passed out from hunger and exhaustion, and then I dreamt of 2 keys. One was gold and burning, though it was only warm to the touch. The other was silver and bathed in moonlight. What does it mean? Do you think they're real keys? They were the keys to the Temple of Solomon. I felt the light inside me. Oh, Hashem, he spoke to me. The old man's eyes widen and lose focus, as if he were in a trance. You understand now. This is the reason I have been collecting keys all my life. They are my escape from this Sheol. They were my test, and they will be my salvation. How can a bunch of keys help you escape? There is a hidden power in patterns and numbers. Some of the keys are numbered. This makes them special. The effect of Isidore's dream fades and he comes to himself again. I think I have said enough. Dreams may act as vessels between this reality and other planes. You prefer to see the will of Tetragrammaton as magic. So be it. Tell me, how may I assist you? What do you know about this key? You see a flash of greed in the old man's eyes. He hastily takes some notes to a peculiar notebook on the counter. Is it numbered 0? Oh, how interesting. Where did you get such a rare one? From a mysterious man, but I found it because of a dream. Long story. Some dreams indeed hold value. What can I offer you for that key, my friend? A key numbered 0 would be a very fine addition to my collection here. What is that notebook? Let's say it's an atlas for keys. What power they hold, what mysteries they unlock. But forget about my notebook now. What do you want for the key? It's not for sale. 500 sigs. Is it for sale now? Tell me about it first, and I'll think about it. Forgive me, but I don't trust people easily. This particular habit also helped me tremendously in staying alive. 500 sigs. Is it for sale now? I said no. 700 sigs. That's my final offer. Don't waste your breath. I won't sell it. 1,000, right now. Losing the key will put everything in jeopardy. You won't change my mind. I'm sorry. If you won't sell the key to me, I'm afraid our conversation is over. Then you'll be missing a conversation chance with a fellow devotee of Kabbalah. You do not even dare to mock the doctrine. He that is uplifted and exalted, he that dwells forever, created his world by 3, Sephir, Sephor, and... He completes your sentence. Sippor, the story. You know Sephir Yetzirah. Perhaps you're right. It's nice to meet someone who is interested in the tradition. I need to unveil the meaning behind the key. Help me, Mikabal. Do not let me wander clueless. I am no Mechubal, friend. Like you, I am just a humble student of the doctrine, but I won't spare what I know from you. Perhaps your search has a meaning in the great pattern. That key is for the safe deposit boxes of the Bank of Arkham. I wasn't aware of the existence of one labeled 0, though. Where is the Bank of Arkham? It's located in the main street to the northwest of here, but I doubt there is much to discover there. It's in ruins now, just like the whole monetary system. As you see, we buy things with sigs now, like destitute prisoners. We are indeed in a prison. Thank you. I'll check the place. Oh, alright. We've made some pretty solid progress here, but we just hit the hour mark, so I think this is a pretty good breaking point. We'll hit the pause button for now, but we'll pick up here next time as we investigate the Bank of Lunatics. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Stygian, Reign of the Old Ones, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official Facebook page, the official Twitter feed, or the original crowdfunding campaign over on Kickstarter. Links are in the description.